Hey, I don't know about you, but I can feel so scattered sometimes between the pinball machine of thoughts bouncing around my mind, not to mention all the notifications, my very loud children, and the ongoing demands coming at me all day, every day. The days can feel overwhelming. That's exactly why I created my brand new Start Your Day Planner. This planner helps you start each day clear, confident, and in control. This simple 5-minute morning routine gives you easy prompts that give context, clarity, and focus to your day so you know exactly what to focus on and you finally feel good about how you spend your time. And I'm so excited to let you know that the physical hard copy of the Start Your Day Planner is now available. You can head over to startyourdayplanner.com to get your copy. And if you want to check it out before you buy it, you can even download a free digital sample of the Start Your Day Planner. You can see the inside. Go ahead, get started on the system and try it out for yourself. Head over to startyourdayplanner.com and get ready to start your days in a whole new way. That's startyourdayplanner.com. Hey everyone, and welcome to Get Your Hopes Up. I'm Christy Wright, and I'm so glad you're here. Romans 15:13 says, "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him so that you may overflow with hope by power of the Holy Spirit." Our God is the God of hope, and he wants you to overflow with hope. So let's start our week by getting our hopes up again. Now, I'm so excited because today we are continuing my conversation with Hannah Keeley. This is part 2 of our conversation. And if you missed last week, you want to go back, listen to that episode because you are going to love her. Hannah Keeley is America's #1 mom coach. She's an ordained Christian minister, master board certified life coach, and mom of 7. She's amazing. She's so smart, and she gives you practical tips to deal with the very real struggles that you experience as a mom. I know you're going to love her as much as I do, so check out my conversation with Hannah. Okay, so I've got a kind of a specific question, and it's relating to me, but it relates to a lot of families. And I don't know how much you know about this, so share as much as you do or don't. I have read on Instagram, our authority on all parenting, right? I've read that parents' brains that have kids with autism or neurodivergence, but specifically autism, literally mirror the brain of a war veteran, like someone who has been at war in PTSD.
True.
So when you were saying a minute ago, our brain changes to filter our environments for threats, I cannot describe the level of intensity of that for me with a child with autism, especially in those early years when we didn't know it was autism and we didn't know how to manage it. We did not yet have a name or diagnosis. So from like age 2, when things got really hard, to age 7, for example, when these therapies started really helping and when we were able to he was able to verbalize what he was feeling and that kind of thing. For 5 years, when I say I lived on edge, Hannah, I mean like when you're in fight or flight, you're tense at all times. The only time I wasn't tense, I found, was when I was on vacation and knew, he was well taken care of. But any other time in my environment, I'm constantly the way that the picture I have of myself. And I think a lot of parents relate to this. You can't see me now, but if you could see me, imagine me standing with my arms out wide in a T and my hands up like I'm saying stop in both directions. I felt like I was standing between Conley and the world. And I was trying to protect Conley from the world, from judgments and stigmas and your kid's a jerk or whatever. All this misjudging him, misunderstanding him, trying to protect him from the world. Don't call him names. Don't think he's a bad kid. He's not a bad kid. But also trying to protect the world from Conley. So when we're on a playground, Conley, don't kick over their sandcastle. No, Conley, don't take their shoes. No, Conley, no, you can't do that. No, you can't say that. No, you can't say they're fat. No, you can't say just trying to stand in the gap between my son and the world. And that level of pressure and anxiety and fear and grief and overwhelm and pure exhaustion, Hannah.
Absolutely.
Just pure exhaustion to stand in the gap for your child. When, oh, by the way, you have other children and a job and other things on you. talk a little bit about what our brain is doing, especially for those moms that have children in their household that may have, whether they're neurodivergence challenges or other types of challenges. So many moms, whether it's autism or not, so many moms listening right now are feeling that exact picture where they feel like they're trying to stand between their child and the world and make it all okay.
Yeah.
And that level of that's like a different level. It's like mom brain plus some. And so talk a little bit about that. Anything you know about that or any encouragement you have for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is a different level because think about it when a soldier is in war and there's wartime, right? They are standing in the gap between the country they're trying to protect and the country that is trying to invade. And so when can they rest? When can you actually lower your threshold? You can't. You're always listening for the footsteps in the woods. You're listening for a potential gunshot. You're listening like you're always waiting for the orders to come through, right? And so this is where a lot of moms find themselves, especially moms with special needs kids, is their system is so overloaded because it's always scanning, 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 right? And you get exhausted. And this is what I will tell you. This has helped me so many times, especially when you feel powerless over your children, is this idea of a covenant protection over my family. And so I always think about what I can't do, God can. And can I always sustain this level of protection? No. Will I be with them when they're out in the world? No. Can I continue to do this? I can do it right now. But what about when I can't? What about when I crash?
Right, right.
And so there is this strategy that I use. And I go to a promise that I know God supplies for me. See, I think moms have power, spiritual covenant power over their children. And what we believe we can start to manifest in our children. So I go to this place where it's like, God, I'm going to do everything I can. But you've also commanded me to rest. You say, cast all your cares upon me because I care for you. Now, if we know that God loves us, and we really, really know that, I think that's the battle. Do I really know that I'm loved? Because if I'm loved, he's got me. And if I'm loved, he's got my kids too. So it's that place where we know that our will, our mental aptitude, our strategies will have an expiration date, but God is on the other side of that. And so I always say, God, you're where I can't be. You're in their mind when I can't be in their mind. You're surrounding them when I can't. My hold is limited. So, God, I'm going to go to a promise in your word, and I'm going to say that you surround my children with favor like a shield. I'm going to speak over them that they are the head and not the tail, that they are the top and not the bottom, that everywhere you go, you make a way, you go before them, you will protect them from their enemies, and everything that happens to them is happening for them because all things work together for good. God, I'm claiming that over my children, and I ask you to fulfill on your promise, and I let go. And from this point on, I'm going to celebrate the finished work, that you are where I can't be, and that everything is working out for them.
That is so good. It's such a good reminder too, because I think that that's one of the things that does keep us up at night because we can't always be there. And I had a experience when Conley was 2. This has happened. I've had close calls with all my kids, as every mom has. And those close calls will get you, man, because you're going, but what if? And I could have, and it was almost, and it's so terrifying. It will just torment you.
Yeah.
Well, there was this one instance, and I share it only because the Lord spoke to me on the other side of it. That is exactly what you're saying. But we were at a cookout with my friend Ashley, and Ashley has a really big front yard that like goes way, way, way out. And then there's a road that's it's not a busy road, but cars drive fast on it, you know? And so we were all in the back hanging out, and this was at the point where it was like, it was very clear, like, who's got Conley. So Matt would say, you got him. And I'd say, I got him. And so I was the one that I got him, right? Like he was my responsibility. Matt was doing something else. And at that point I said, I got him. So I had the handoff there. He was mine. And I got to talking and was talking with my friends, and all the kids are running around. I mean, it's just this sweet little cookout in the backyard. We're all just playing. And I look up and I don't know where Conley is. And I look everywhere and I don't see him. And I run out to the front, and I can never tell the story without crying. He's like 2 steps from the road, and Matt grabs him and pulls him back as the car goes by. Matt got him. But Hannah, I mean, clearly still it gets me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I cried all day, all night. I could not.
You couldn't get the image out of your
I
head.
could not let it go of what would have happened. And it was me. in my pain, and I say this because it's one example of so many we've all experienced, right? Like it happens. We're imperfect humans. We can't be everywhere. But the Lord spoke to me that night as I was crying, and he said, he's not just your son. He's my son.
Yeah.
He's my son too. And it was like this reminder that where I fail or where I fall short or where I'm imperfect, the Lord reminded me that he is his too. So I just love that reminder that it's not, oh, we'll just try harder to be in all the places, try harder to be a perfect mom that never messes up. The promise is that in our lack, he is more than enough. He is more than enough to parent them, to take care of them and protect them and so on. And that actually makes me think of another question I wanted to ask you around this mom brain. A thing that I say all the time, I used to just think it and then I started saying it out loud because I feel it so to my core. And I still feel this, Hannah. So maybe you can help me and help our listeners with it. I just feel all the time, there's not enough of me. There's just not enough of me. Like between the house and the kids and the job and the stuff on the stairs and the stuff in the garage, I just say it and feel it to my bones. And so when one child is like, well, where's my backpack? And the other one's like, why won't you help me braid my hair? And Matt's like, where's my kid? And I'm like, there's not enough of me. There's not enough of me. What that's both true that there's not enough of us.
Right.
But also I don't want to live in this state of feeling like there's not enough of me.
Right.
What do we do with that? What do we do with that sentiment? Because I feel it all the time.
Oh, every mom out there. If they're not feeling it now, they can at least remember a moment yesterday past 24 hours when they weren't enough. And I think that is that place that we have to enter into. Because if we don't trust that God's enough to fill in the gaps, and there are times, Christy, when I'm like, God, fill in the gaps, because I don't know everything. I can't be everywhere. I can't do everything. So God, fill in the gaps. And whatever I fall short on, can you just make it work out?
Yeah.
Can you just make it work out in my favor because you love me? But it's that place where we have to get to. We're not like, it's non-negotiable. For every mom, we've got to get to that place where we say, I can't do this, but God, you can. And where I fall short, please pick it up. Pick up the slack, fill in the gaps.
So how does that relate to what you were talking about earlier? Because so in the spiritual and in the emotional, I see that connection. How does that play out in the practical and the natural? So when you go back to the laundry example where you say he won't do what you can, it's like I feel it in my home. And maybe this is where we kind of get into like, how does a cluttered house affect our overwhelm? Because I can tell you when my house is clean, Hannah, I can conquer the world. I can be going on 2 hours of sleep, but I'm like,
Yes.
look, girl, look at my house. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling in control. When in the practical, when I'm like, there's not enough of me, I feel that in the practical in my home in the day to day. And thankfully I have so much help from my mom with like the logistics of carpool and that kind of thing. I've changed a lot of my parenting as of last summer when I read The Anxious Generation. I'm putting a lot more responsibility on my kids for chores and doing things themselves, which now they're at the age that they can. When you get babies, they can't get their own shoes. So there's seasonality to this, like we said. But how does that play out in the natural and in the practical of there really isn't enough of you? You really can't do all the things by yourself. So how do we find help or delegate or eliminate some tasks? How do we manage that?
Well, I have a saying that I live by, and everyone who comes in my circle, they know this saying, and it's this: sloppy success beats perfect failure. And I always think, can I have success in a new way? Does it have to be up here, or can I just have sloppy success today? Can I just show up? Is it okay if I kick toys under the bed? Is it okay if I mop the floor by squirting a spot with cleaner and cleaning it with my foot and throwing away the paper towel? Like, can I lower my standards enough to make an environment of joy, peace,
That's good.
freedom, clarity? Or am I trying to prove something to myself and to this world that I am enough? Because if we always have this idea, and here's the truth of it, Christy, whenever we think, am I enough? It's actually revealing a belief that I don't think I am. So that's where God's grace steps in. We have to get to that place where we're not enough, because if we think we're enough, we're always going to be dependent upon our ability to perform. Look at me. Look how my house is clean. Look how I get everything done on time. Look how I don't disappoint anyone. Okay, how long can you keep that up before it implodes? And what is the goal of it? If the goal of it is to actually serve at the highest level, beautiful. If the goal is to prove your worth to yourself, you will never get to that spot. And so we have to take a deep breath and realize, am I showing up? And am I showing up enough right now? What is enough anyway? Enough is never enough.
This episode is brought to you by Glorify, the #1 Christian daily devotional app. Hey, do you want to grow in your relationship with God, but you don't know how? Or maybe you find yourself opening your Bible with no idea of where to start. I get it, and I've been there. Luckily, that's where the Glorify app comes in. With Glorify, you can start your morning by reading the Bible passage of the day, diving into the daily devotional, or even wrapping up with an immersive experience called Daily Walk with God. And if you need to take a few minutes to yourself in the middle of a busy day, you can try one of the guided meditations or listen to their worship playlists for some quiet reflection. To end the day, you can even enjoy sleep meditations to help you wind down. Join over 20 million people who have downloaded the Glorify app and deepened their relationship with God. Visit glorify-app.com/hope right now to download the Glorify app for free. That's glorify-app.com/hope. Well, I like how you're digging into the motivations of why we do what we do, because I'll give you an example. Last fall, I decided in August to not sign up for any after school activities. And this was very different for us. Now, we're not a family that signs up for tons of sports every season anyway, but if you have 3 kids and they each do one sport, and that's one practice and one game a week, that's 6 events a week, not including our therapies that we were committed to, which are really important to us. Okay, so I decided to do none of these things. So when all the moms are filling up the mom chat, can't wait to see you guys on Saturdays and soccer and practice and this gym and that thing, whatever. I had FOMO. I mean, truly, I had FOMO of like my friends and, oh, am I like keeping my kids out? They're going to miss out on all this fun and pictures on Instagram of all the kids eating ice cream after soccer. Like, these things really affect your decision making, whether you realize it or not. And I still made the decision to not do anything after school. Well, what happened as a result was we had a very different fall. We came home after school. My daughter and I baked. We went to the playground. We rode our bikes. We were a family. We had a much slower pace and we had much more peace. So the thing I want to offer to our listeners in light of what you're saying is, when you think about, your standards or your level of clean house or your commitments, whatever, ask yourself why that matters to you. And even I love this idea of, I wrote down what you said, lower your standards to have an environment of peace. And so in this example of the fall, it was more lowering my commitments
Right.
to have an environment of peace.
Right.
And so there was a sacrifice involved, right? Like, I had to sacrifice all the camaraderie of the team and the pictures and Instagram and feeling a part of Saturday mornings. But what I chose was peace, and I'm really glad that I did. Now, someone else may say, no, I choose the sport. Cool, fine, that's great for you.
Right. Right.
But in this example of like the house, lowering your standards, okay, I'm willing to sacrifice my ideas of perfection or Pinterest or my fears of what people think of me if they stop by and toys are on the floor for an environment of peace. And you figure out what that is for you, of like because truly it is hard for me to feel peace in my home when my home is cluttered. So I do need some level of clean, or I do feel like a crazy
Right.
person.
Right.
But to your point, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be picked up.
It doesn't have to be perfect. I believe of home needs to be an organic environment of growth. We have to have flexibility. One saying I have is, the most flexible person in the room always wins. Like, if we can be flexible with this and say, how am I showing up that's really good right now? Instead of, what am I doing wrong? We're so good at pointing out what we're doing wrong, but we fail at pointing out what we're doing right.
Yes.
And so there's always a way that we can stop. And it's that Mary Martha moment, you know, hey, you know what? Mary's chosen the greater thing. It's not going to be taken away from her. And I think about that time in the fall when you made a choice. Okay, Christy's chosen the greater thing. This is not going to be taken away from her. So as much pressure as we get from the world of, no, this is how a mom acts, and this is what a mom does, and this is how a mom shows up. It's like, do I want that choice? And why? Why am I seeking that? Am I seeking it for to give me worth, to validate me? Or am I seeking it because it really will provide me with more joy and freedom? Chances are it's validation and worth instead of the joy and freedom. And the joy of the Lord is our strength. Most moms are tired today, not because we're run down physically, but we're run down emotionally and mentally and spiritually.
Yeah, the mental load is just so overwhelming. It's so interesting you say that because I've talked about this a lot in my coaching group, and I think I learned this a couple years ago. But psychology research shows that the most motivating thing in the world is seeing progress. It's not money, it's not time off. It's seeing, oh, I've lost 5 pounds. I want to go eat another salad to lose more weight. Right? I've run this many miles. I want to run more miles. But often we're so focused on what we're not doing that we never stop to celebrate progress. To your point, we're never stopping to recognize and celebrate what we've done right, what we did do. And so I talk about this and Take Back Your Time after I kind of walk people through the steps to balance. But the final one is be present for what matters. So figure out what matters, stop doing what doesn't matter, et cetera. The last one is be present for what matters. So that means focus on what you did do, what's right now. So in a book launch season, when I walk through my living room and it's cluttered with toys, I'm not going to tell myself the story, you're failing, your house is a mess. Instead, I'm going to go, girl, that's not right now. You're launching a book. We're going to focus on what is right, and we're going to rock it on these national media tours and be awesome and let the toys go. There's a time for a clean house, and it's not right now. So there's something so powerful in flipping your focus, like you're saying, to being proud of what you are doing instead of focused on what you're not doing. And every single day and season is not for everything, but it's identifying what is the season, what is the priority, what is the thing for that day, and choosing the greater thing on that day or in that
Yeah.
season in relation to your priorities and being present for it and proud of it and letting that other stuff go. I've had to do that so much where this spring, so fall was like peace and joy and baking muffins and very slow pace. This spring is absolute insanity. Like it is, I am remodeling a lake house. I am starting a homeschool tutorial. I don't even know what I'm doing. There's clothes everywhere. But again, I have to remind myself, Christy, these are the things that are important. The clean house, that's not the season. You know that it's possible because you had it last fall, so we can have it again.
That's right.
But it's just not right now. And so I just love that permission for us to be proud of what we are doing
Yeah.
and focused on that instead of always feeling guilty for what we're not doing or what we didn't get to. As we wrap up, Hannah, I want to ask you specifically about homeschool. So my listeners know I've been talking about this openly. I'm starting a homeschool tutorial. I'm homeschooling my own son, Conley, this fall. We feel like God is leading us. We're done with this incredible school that really gave him a foundation. Now we're ready to transition out of that for his growth. You homeschooled 7 you had your own school. Okay, Hannah, you had your own school. You had your own class. Tell me, just give some encouragement to moms that either are homeschooling and they're overwhelmed by it, or maybe those that are thinking about it. Because I've been hearing a lot of people kind of getting called into this space that are like, no, not me, no, not that. And then they're kind of exploring it. Would you give us some wisdom there?
Well, every mom is a homeschool teacher. You are the number one teacher already. So you're already homeschooling, whether you realize it or not. But one word of advice that I wish someone had given me is don't try to replicate out in the world schooling system what's happening in your home. Let it be a reflection of you. Be organic with this. Let it grow you as much as it grows your children. Let it educate you as much as it educates your children. And I always believed one day at home with a less than adequate school load beats a whole week in school without that unity.
That's true. That's good.
I mean, I'll just tell you, like even if I suck today as a homeschool teacher, I still beat what would happen in the school. But that's me. Okay.
You're like, that's
not
my
me
story. I'm
putting
sticking to it.
Right. But I just believe that so much success in our lives are not dependent upon the facts that we know and how well we do math and if we can, read a different language. It's not that. It's how do we communicate? How do we stick to our beliefs? How do we make an impact in this world? I believe if I could teach my children that, I'm teaching them success long after they exit out of school. And I can tell you with my kids in their 20s and 30s now, that we have doctors, we have COOs, we have sales reps, we have designers, we have worship leaders, and it's like I'm so proud of them, and I'm proud of myself that I allowed God to show up every day in our homeschool, good, bad, ugly. You're going to have all those days, But if you're like, oh, we didn't do science today from 2:30 to 4:30, I screwed up. No, no, you didn't. They saw how you showed up. Did you show up positively? Did you show up powerfully? Did you show up passionately? That's what will teach our children more than if they get all the check marks done.
That's so good. Well, I love the permission in that because when someone's listening right now, whether they're homeschooling right now or not, or explored it or open to it or whatever, there's just such permission that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a teacher, a background in education or certain qualification. If God is calling you into this or it's right for your family in this new season, God will give you everything you need for it. And you don't have to be perfect to show up and to give your kids a quality education. So I love that. Okay, I know people want to know where they can get a copy of Mom Fog and follow everything you're doing, Hannah. So tell them how they can connect with you, take part in your challenge. Tell us all the ways to connect.
Yeah. Okay. So you can go to Hannah Keeley, or connect with me on Instagram. But if you go to Mom Fog Book, you can get it there for a lot cheaper than Amazon. And also, we do a lot of stuff with Mom Brain. So if you're ever wanting to, do more stuff with Mom Brain, make sure you hit me up because we always having a Mom Brain makeover. We're always doing that kind of stuff with our audience.
It's so helpful when you're talking about something that people need help with and they don't even know they need help with it. And you're just shining a light in a space that people feel shame, feeling like they're the only ones that feels that way. And they're not. And I just love how you are giving hope and real solutions. So y'all go to hannahkeeley.com, momfogbook.com. Is that the URL for that one? Momfogbook.com and hannahkeeley.com. And then on Instagram, is it Hannah Keeley?
Yeah, Hannah Keeley.
Okay. Y'all connect with Hannah.
We don't have bots that respond. It's actually me. So
it's actually you.
I want to hear your story.
I love that. Hannah, thank you for just your courage, for showing up and not just figuring this out on your own, but also showing us the way so we can get help in this major area of our life that's affecting everything. Like we said, from our finances to our family to schools and the way we feel about ourselves. So thank you. Thank you for speaking hope and truth and for encouraging us today.
Thank you, Christy. Always a pleasure.
All right, y'all. That's it for this week's episode of Get Your Hopes Up. I love hanging out with you every Monday to help you get to know God, get closer to Him, and get your hopes up again. Be sure to share this episode on Instagram and Facebook so other people can get their hopes up as well. And then I'll see you next Monday for another new episode of Get Your Hopes Up.